This is the brand new Dodge Hornet GT. It's in the blue Bayou paint, and it's just the base trim level of the vehicle. But I gotta say, when I hopped inside of it, I was actually kind of surprised. I like the new layout. It's a little bit smaller profile as well, and it's powered by a ridiculous 2-liter turbocharged engine, which pushes out a great amount of power. Now, before we get started, I do want to give Pickering Dodge a huge shout out and thanks for giving me access to this thing to shoot the video for you guys. You can find contact details for Pickering Dodge, along with the build details for this specific one, tech walkthrough videos, pricing details, and a number of other things down in the description. But let's dive into it because there's a lot to learn about the brand new Dodge Hornet. Starting off with some basics. You're only going to find the Hornet with all-wheel drive, so no front wheel or rear wheel drive option whatsoever. But still, you get pretty solid performance out of this thing. Now, there are different style wheels that are available, different sizes depending on which packages you've gone for. Because this is just the base GT, 17-inch wheel is the only option. GT Plus, you're in 18s, and then there's an available track pack, which is going to bump you up to 20-inch wheels instead. And the track pack is also going to give you dual suspension. Pretty neat. But outside of that, the track packs aren't going to change the dynamics of what's going on under the hood. That's always going to be the same. But I like the overall body style of this thing. I think it's a big part of it is the blue. Like, I love this deep blue metallic paint, which looks pretty sharp. There's a little Dodge Hornet badge right along the fender on the driver passenger side. And then just base simple highlight. So that black fender right along the very bottom there, that wraps all the way throughout the body and even leads in towards the front end of the vehicle. And then just nice black contrast all the way throughout. Like if you look just in between the lights, so there's this nice Dodge badge, red right in the very middle. And I love the way that the lights look inside of this thing. They're just wrapped in so nicely. It's good. They are LED headlamps, and that's going to be standard across the entire Hornet lineup. So LED headlamps, LED tail lamps as well. There is the option for a surround monitor, so full 360 camera, when you look at one of the added packages. So it is nice that's available, and that's the same thing with the forward sensing system. So the meanness of Dodge you can see come out in the front end. It's really neat. Got some hood scoops there. Just above the Dodge badge, there's a little release. You're just going to go off to the left and then on hydraulics, which is amazing. And you've got this, the 2-liter turbocharged engine. Power-wise, this thing pushes out 268 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque, which is actually pretty solid for a vehicle this size. It's small, it's compact, it's not a very heavy vehicle. So the 2-liter turbo, you're going to have some fun driving this thing. But under the hood here, it's basic, it's simple. You could top up fluids if you want to, check change oil yourself, easy access to fluids, your battery, etc. But one big thing, you just want to make sure you're regularly maintaining your vehicle. Take it in for regular oil changes, do regular preventative maintenance as well. Like these things, 40, 50,000 bucks, you want to make sure you're protecting your investment and getting the best possible life out of your ride. Taking a peek at the size of the Hornet. It's a pretty decently sized vehicle. Like I said, not too long, not too tall, and it's not a heavy vehicle by any stretch. So the 2-liter turbo, it is going to launch you and you're going to have quite a little bit of fun inside of it. It's funny, you jump towards the back end of this thing and you can just tell it's so Dodge-esque. Just the way that the light wraps around in the middle there, it looks like the Charger and a few other Dodge vehicles. It's nice. Hornet badge along the very bottom left, GT badge along the bottom right. And there are some things you're going to find back here that are going to be standard. Rear wiper and the reverse camera will always be there. And then this one, reverse parking sensors on top of that, which is great. This one doesn't have a hitch installed, but if you were to do something from the dealer, aftermarket, whatever the case may be, you're maxing out at 2,000 pound towing capacity. Pretty respectable. Now, interesting thing about the rear end here is that if you look just to the right-hand side of the camera, so just underneath, there are 2 individual buttons. The one off to the right, which locks the doors, and then the one off to the left side, which is going to be the unlock to get inside of the cargo area. And first thing you're obviously going to notice is that this thing does have a little cargo protector, and you could easily remove it. So there's a little piece off to the left side and the right side. Ooh, right side is on there, tight. There we go. And then you're just gonna lift this thing up in order to pull it out. But there's not a ton of stuff back here. Like taking a look, just regular carpeted mats. You've got the option for thermoplastic rubber trays and things like that as well, but the right side, there's nothing there outside of a little light. Off to the left side, there's another little light, and then a 12-volt power point back here too. And then this one, just the regular carpeted liner back here. You do have the option to do a WeatherTech aftermarket if you wanted that tray style liner. Mopar Accessories, I do believe, has that available as an option too. But lifting this thing up, oh, okay, that's kind of neat. What? Okay, cool. So inside of this, when you lift up the tray, there are these little pieces along the side. It almost acts as like a little stopper. So you lift up and you can rest this. Oh, that's kind of cool. You can rest this thing on the top and then just push down in order to lower it. That is really neat. But when you lift up, you've got the inflator kit there. No spare tire, unfortunately, but if you do need it, you do have Dodge Roadside Assistance if you need somebody to tow you to a dealer. Straightforward. Then lowering the second row seats down, I could do it from the back side there, but if you wanted to, just hopping inside after you unlock the vehicle. There we go. All right, and then there's a button right along the top. You're just gonna grab that and pull. And when you do that, I mean, it just opens things up so nicely back here. There's a surprising amount of space inside of this thing. It's pretty neat. Good size, good style overall. Dodge, I'm impressed. Filling up fuel inside of the Hornet is also straightforward, and it's along the passenger side. So, button press there, and it's a capless system. One of the nice things, just regular 87 octane, is minimum manufacturer's recommendation inside of this thing. So you don't need to worry about using a higher octane fuel. 87 is all you need. And this thing, for the size, also has pretty solid fuel economy numbers. Taking a peek along the driver's side door, so there is a little blind spot monitoring system there, so that's going to highlight if somebody's into the blind spot on either side of the vehicle. Along the door itself, you can push the button there in order to lock, or just slide your hand in order to unlock. Nice. Nice. Great look. But basics along the driver's side door, you've got this nice like textured material along this part of the door. Basic unlock and lock buttons. Nice red stitching that follows throughout the seats. Different parts of the vehicle. Look at that through the dash as well. But along the driver's side door there, figure out what's going on with your side view mirrors, basic window controls, little handle, and a little bit of storage on top of that. And this one, just the regular audio system, but there is the option for an upgraded 15 speaker system, but we'll get to the audio in just a second. Little Easter egg I just found there. Little Hornet along the side of the dash, which is kind of cool. Red stitching follows all the way throughout this part of the dash, and it's got like a leatherette right there. Series of different options there as well, so you can figure out what's going on with your running lamps. I honestly always just recommend keeping it in the auto setting. And then this is a dimmer switch, so you can figure out what's going on with the brightness of the cluster screen, as well as the multimedia screen. Inside of the Hornet itself, so you've got a few different options and styles for the seats, depending on the trim level of the vehicle that you're in. Look at that, nice little Dodge highlight too. But because we're in the just GT base, it's manual seats. So prop bar there between your legs in order to slide the seat forwards, backwards. You can either lower or raise the seat as well. And then you can adjust your backrest using that one on top of that. But when you look at different models of the vehicle, like you look at the GT Plus, you look at some of the added track packages, that's gonna be power seats. So it might be power driver and passenger, or just power driver, depending on which version you've gone for. This is really good. I love the red stitching that follows all the way throughout the dash, throughout the seats, the armrest. It looks good. Hold on, the seat comfort inside of this. Let's kind of test that thing out. So, wheel test is pretty good. Now I've got the seat as far back and as far, is it as far down? Okay, hold on. Oh wow, and down she goes. Oh my goodness. Okay, so as far down and as far back as it's gonna go, and I've got, what's that? 4.5 inches of headspace. Pretty solid. That's actually really surprising. So this one, because it's just the regular GT, has manual seats. Here nor there. I mean, it's really realistically going to function the same way, but power seats are nice inside of this. There's the option for either first row, like driver passenger side power seats, or strictly driver power seat, depending on which trim level you've gone for and which packages that you've added on. So something to consider if you want full power seats, it is available there. You just have to package it out properly. But the interior of this thing is really solid. And I like the comfort, like the overall comfort in the seats is really good though. It's a two-way adjustable headrest, so just up and down, no forwards, backwards options, but still plenty spacious. The seat is actually fairly comfortable on top of that, which is good. Look at that. Beautiful start up there. Love it. Love the cluster screen, fully digital cluster. Love the multimedia screen on top of that. Really good. All right, so steering wheel inside of this thing feels really, really nice. There's the option for a heated steering wheel. Same thing, option for heated seats, depending on which model of the vehicle that you've gone for. But I gotta say, like when I first hopped into this thing, I was actually kind of shocked and blown away at how much I like the overall design of this thing. It's nice steering wheel, nice and comfortable, nice metallic highlight through the wheel, Dodge badge, and right throughout. Got a dedicated sport mode on top of that, which is kind of cool. Yeah, look at this. Sport mode on, sport mode off. Really nice. This is going to be for your adaptive cruise control system. So one of the benefits there is that once you're on the highway, so you can toggle on the adaptive cruise system, and that's your set it and forget it cruise. So you can increase, decrease 1 kilometer, 1 mile per hour at a time. And then you can also control how close or far you are away from the vehicle that's in front of you as well. So it's very straightforward to use this system. But if you want to walk through, like if you want to know how to use all the different steering wheel buttons, move through the cluster screen, or use the Uconnect media screen, you'll find that walkthrough in the description of the video. All of these buttons are going to be to navigate through the cluster screen, answer or hang up on a phone call, control your volume, and then move through presets. That's kind of neat. But one thing that's different inside of this Dodge, so the Hornet versus other Dodge vehicles, behind the steering wheel, there are no buttons. So typically you'd be able to change your volume and things like that. So in the Hornet, Dodge has just opted to do it right inside of the steering wheel itself. Here nor there, but overall styling, like I love the vents. Really neat, your basic vent controls there, speakers, all over the place, but there is the option, as I was mentioning, for an upgraded audio system inside of this thing. But you are push button start inside of it, auto start stop, so the one that's potentially going to kill power to the engine if you're stopped for an extended period of time. You could toggle that off if you want to. Now this is so neat. I love it. So this is the Uconnect media screen inside of the vehicle. There are technically 2 different options that are available. So it's the same size screen, it's just one of them has factory navigation, one of them doesn't. So this is obviously the option without factory navigation, but regardless of whether you have one with factory nav or not, you could hook up Android or iPhone devices to use Google Maps, Apple Maps, or Waze on iPhones, or Google Maps right through this screen on top of that. But very straightforward. You've got all of your basic controls for first row. You can turn on heated seats, heated steering wheel right from the inside, move between different media. So AM, FM, Sirius XM, there are a series of different options. You can choose between different sources too. So USB, if you had a USB stick with MP3s, you could plug it in order to listen. So hold on, let's go through sources. Okay. I'm going to start off at nothing and then kind of raise it to half volume without touching any of the audio settings. So this is just coming right out of the microphone.
Step 3, you grow hard about what you want to be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Damn, that is impressive. And this isn't even the upgraded sound system, because it's either going to be the 6-speaker system, but there's also the option for a 15 speaker. And if this one sounds good, this good, hold on, have the audio settings been touched? Okay, there we go. Okay, but even still, the bass is only cranked by 5. So the way that I normally like it is the bass up by 3 and the treble down by 2. So I'm going to adjust it that way. Let's go back to media again and try it again. So same thing, I'm going to start it off at low volume and raise it up to halfway. But let's listen to it again.
Concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Okay, That is impressive. That is very impressive. Wow, and this isn't even the upgraded system. Like, I can only imagine how much of a night and day difference it's going to be. So if you love audio, like, I mean, obviously it's a filling audio experience because this is a fairly small cabin, but the 15 speaker I could only imagine would be like just mind-blowingly better in comparison. But damn, that was really nice. And then navigating back through, you've got Bluetooth and a few others. Comfort, so you could get to all of your climate settings a few ways. Like, you could adjust this way. You've got all of your your climate settings right down the center stack as well. And you can easily adjust out as you go. Neat. Phones, so as of right now, obviously no phone connected, but you can connect over Bluetooth if you just wanted to stream audio, or you can connect through Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. Like I said, if you want to walk through on that, you'll find it in the description of this video. And then there are a series of vehicle settings as well. You can turn the screen off, you can turn the camera, and you look at the camera instead. If you had the one with the full surround monitor, so the 360 camera, it would show up right through this screen as well. You can look at some car settings. That's kind of cool. When you've got to service it, explore, ooh, cool. Auto mode or sport, which is going to tweak out the shift points, steering, and a few other things as well. Nice. Trip counters, trip A, trip B. Performance counters as well, so you can see your gauges when you give it a little bit of gas, consumption history, and all of your accessory gauges. That is so cool. So you've got some basics through the cluster screen there, but I mean, looking at all of these, I love it. It's more of like a performance type of a setup instead. And then a series of different advanced settings. Very straightforward. But got your four-way blinkers, climate control settings right down the center stack, fan control. Do you want this going to your windshield face feet? All of the above. We've got some different options. Let's get it right to the face. There you go. Yeah. Air conditioning button, yay, nay. And then, as I mentioned, push button start, auto start stop. This one is actually kind of neat. I haven't seen one of these standard. Oh, hold on. It's not even, oh, that's hilarious. It's just a plug. I was like, nobody includes these anymore. Yeah. So 12 volt power point, just with like a faux adapter there instead. Oh, Dodge. And then 2 USB power points. So a USB-C, USB Type A. There is the option for wireless charging inside of this thing. It's just that this one doesn't have it. Down the center stacks, you've got your park, reverse, neutral, drive. Then once you're in drive, you can smack it over to go into manual mode to take advantage of the 9-speed automatic transmission. So if you wanted to adjust out gears yourself, you've got that flexibility. Along the other side, you've got volume rockers, and then you can also push in to turn your audio on or off. There's an electronic parking brake. You can turn off your electronic stability control, the reverse sensing system, so that beeping that you get as you back up, if that drives you nuts, you could toggle it off. There are a few cup holders there. And then the armrest, which, I mean, same thing. Look at that. Beautiful red stitching. But lifting this thing up, there's a teeny amount of storage space in there. Actually, oh my gosh, look at that. Like a surprising amount of space. Like, I'm almost like elbow deep. That's impressive. Shooting up overhead, this one, manual dimming, rear view mirror, all of your controls for your cabin lights, a series of different options there. This thing, because it's just the regular GT, does not have the available sunroof. Some models of the vehicle do though, so it would just be a nice little roof there, but I mean, obviously this one, just a regular headliner instead with no roof. From there, you've got the visor with a few business card holders along the side. This thing also has a vanity mirror with a light built in. And this thing extends out like this. Blocking most of the sun that might be hitting your face, which is great. But like I said, overall styling in this thing, I am very impressed with the way that it feels. I can't wait to take it out on a spin. But before I do, I got to hop back into that second row. So I'm going to set this thing up. So the way that I would normally drive, yeah, that's good. Okay. So this is the way that I would normally have the seat set up. And with it set up for myself being 6 feet tall, in the second row, I have a great amount of foot space, great amount of knee space. And up overhead, 1.5 to 2-ish inches of head space, which is actually still pretty respectable. Now, I guess the big thing would be, could you fit 3 full-size versions of me in the second row? Probably not. It's going to be very, very tight for 3 full-size adults back here. But if you've got kids, anchor points and top tether points are available there if you need them. But even still, like even in this middle seat, like if you drew short straws and you needed bigger people back here, an inch-ish max headspace in this center seat. It's just that I'm like man spreading in the middle seat in order to be able to actually sit in here. But here nor there, it still is fairly comfortable, which is actually surprising. Like these second row seats have a great amount of butt cushion to them. That's actually kind of cool. I like it. Now, a few basic highlights. So window controls along the door. There's a little speaker back there. Behind the first row seats, so the driver's side and the passenger side, you're also going to find a few pockets on top of that. Just in behind the armrest, you've got basic vent controls, and then 2 USB power points, so a USB-C, USB Type-A. But other than that, there's not too much. Up overhead, there's a little cabin control light, some nice LEDs there. And then you've got cup holders back there on top of that. And one interesting thing, the design, I'm trying to figure out the design reasoning for this, but there's this little tray you can drop in order to get access to the trunk. But I'm like, what could be the design reason for this? Like, if you know what it's used for, what it could be used for, let me know. But you can drop the back part down in order to get access to the trunk. Like, maybe someone was like, I just want access to the trunk to kind of reach through to get goodies if you're on a road trip. But I just think that's kind of neat. It's very different. Kind of cool all at the same time. But overall, this is pretty good. Second row seats are comfortable. Now, there's no option to recline the seats either. They are locked into place. But even still, like I said, I've got a good amount of foot space and knee space back here, even with the seat as far, set up for myself being 6 feet. If it was back as far as it's going to go, like it could go, it'd be very tight. My knees would definitely be touching the back of the seat. But I mean, even still, if it was for a shorter trip, it's doable. But it's functional space. I can actually sit upright in the second row, which is pretty rare because I am a little bit taller. It's just that 3 full-size versions of me, probably not going to happen. Let's take this thing out for a spin and have some fun. Comfortable. It's a quiet ride. Driving dynamics. Hold on, I'm gonna not bad. Nice. This is really good though. Nice. Nice as you go. You can hear the turbo whine kind of going here as well. But I'm going to kind of kick back a little bit. Okay. All right. It's no Charger, but still, that's pretty impressive. Hold on, I'm going to drop down a little bit. Let's go to 4th gear, 80 and go. Okay, Dodge. Impressive performance inside of this thing, I gotta say. That's good. Okay, yeah, that's better. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if it was just trying to if it had to warm up or whatever the case may be, but still a tiny, a fraction of a second for a turbo lag, but it's not bad by any stretch. All right, so I'm coming over railroad tracks here, so I'm gonna kind of play with the driving dynamics here and see how it feels. Oh, nice. It's funny because I've got the lane. Oh, here we go. Nice. Okay, and ready? 80. Nice. So the bumps there, it handled it really, really nicely as I was going over the tracks. So that's a good thing. Put my foot down to get to 80 and the thing flies. Let's take this thing down this little trail. Here we go. This honestly almost feels like it wants to be a rally car because it's a little bit lower pro. Yeah, I could definitely see that's where this would fly. That is really damn nice though. Wow. Yeah, rally car, I could definitely see this being that option. And that was a look at the all-new Dodge Hornet in the blue Bayou, which I think looks pretty sharp. And I was kind of surprised at the interior highlights. But if you have any questions, drop down in the comment section below and let me know. And I did mention you can find the build link for this specific one, the contact details for Pickering Dodge if you want to put through an order for one of these things. And you can also find the tech walkthroughs and everything else you need to know. But if you enjoyed this one, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And until I see you next time, take care.